Good morning. Welcome to Kehilat Shari Torah's daily Sefirat to Haomer, counting the Haomer from Monday, May 23rd, Victoria Day. Last night we counted 37 days of the Haomer. Hayom Shiva Ushloishem Yom Shehem Chamisha Shavuos Ushnei Yamim LaHaomer. The Sefira for the day is Gevura Shebechesed, discipline in bonding. Let's listen to what Mrs. Juravel has to say about that. Today we examine our yesod, our bonding, through the lens of gevura, of discipline. Bonding cannot be done on an indiscriminate basis. We don't just want to bond with anyone and everyone. Bonding has to take place in a disciplined way. Whom do we want to spend our time on or with? Whom do we want to focus on? Is this relationship worthwhile? Is it one that I can grow from? Discipline can also express itself in our relationships by how focused we are on another and by the steps we've taken to make them a priority. There's another piece to consider when it comes to discipline in bonding as well. As wonderful as a relationship is, there should be discipline in regard to how much of our life is taken up by it. How about those high school relationships that kept us on the phone until 4:30 in the morning? Friends who wouldn't talk to us if they weren't as devoted as they defined needing. That's not the ideal. Bonding should involve a level of refinement. It involves the discipline of knowing how far we need to go or how much we're willing to share. It may happen the person you're bonding with proves to be too much for you. They may be needing too much, or vice versa. You may be expecting too much from that person, too fast or too intensely. A friend of one of my daughters, she writes, who was in the 9th grade, once said about friendship, even the ocean starts shallow. We have to keep that in mind as friends also. We need discipline and setting our boundaries, including the parameters of time we can devote to other causes. Yeah. So she has an interesting story to tell. This one to discuss around the dinner table. I'd be interested to hear what your take is on this. Here's the analogy from a story that she gives. She says, years ago, we were on our way to New York City for a very fancy black tie fundraising dinner for a Jewish organization. It was a Sunday, and we were lucky enough to find a parking spot in front of a meter. You need in some places in New York, you have to feed the meter on Sundays. Some places here too. The meter needed 4 quarters to cover us for the evening, a while ago probably. My husband paid up, and I got out of the car onto the sidewalk. Right in front of us, on the sidewalk, sat a homeless-looking man who was holding and shaking a can that said, "Help me, need food." This was a long time ago when there were a lot more beggars on the streets of Manhattan. My husband did have 4 extra quarters jingling in his pocket, but he kept them there. He and I started walking. Just then, a well-dressed man pulled up in his car to the meter next to us. He said, "I don't believe it. I'm on my way to a dinner too, and I'm short 4 quarters. Do you have any quarters?" My husband had the 4 quarters. The beggar was in front of him, and this well-dressed man was next to him. He took all 4 quarters and gave them to the well-dressed man. Walking away together, I asked him, "How did you decide to do that? How did you decide to give all 4 to the man over giving any to the beggar?" He said to me, "It was easy. For the poor man, those 4 quarters would have been a drop in the bucket. But for the man going to the dinner, the 4 quarters were able to fill his need completely. That's just what he needed. I had it. That spoke to me more." I'm not discussing right or wrong here, she says. Other decisions could have been made. However, my husband's perspective left me with a really good message. When we know and can define what our own real needs are, it's easier for people to bond with us and fill those needs. When we know what their real needs are, it's easier for us to be there for them. But if it's a bottomless pit, it's a turnoff. If we or others are just hoping for the bond to fill a sense of emptiness that's a whole lot bigger, if we don't even know what full would even feel like, the resulting yesod will probably be shaky because there's no gevura behind it. There is no defined endpoint or specified understood goal. Okay, call to action for the day. Think of a relationship you have that leaves you feeling drained or that seems to be draining to the other party. What is it that you're being asked to do or be that makes it feel like too much? Or what is it that you're expecting that may be too much for the other person in the relationship? Define what you think would be a healthier picture and set up a time to discuss your thoughts with the other person involved. Okay, good thought for the day. We'll take it with us, we'll make it part of us, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good day.